好，第二位記者嘅問題。後排最邊嗰位男記者。
特首早晨，香港01嘅，咁就兩個問題啦。首先第一個就係國家主席習近平咧，就喺2月16號就公開表明咗，就係希望香港政府咧可以盡快將穩控疫情作為當前壓倒一切嘅任務啦。咁1個月都過咗去啦，咁我哋睇翻其實當日香港疫情死亡嘅數字係大約200幾宗啦，但係1個月之後已經去到5000幾宗。咁就想問下特首，你覺得特區政府喺過去嗰1個月有冇真係做到國家主席所講用壓倒一切嘅態度去對抗呢個疫情呢？咁第二個問題就係關於政府專家顧問許樹昌教授之前都講過，就係同國家衛健委嘅專家梁萬年教授就達成咗個共識，就係每一日確診人數回落翻去4位或者3位嘅數字嘅時候，就係做全民檢測嘅最佳時機啦。咁但係我哋而家睇翻就係每一日確診嘅數字都係萬零宗咁樣，咁就想問下特首，你有冇一啲乜嘢嘅策略可以短時間內盡快壓低而家呢個確診嘅數字咧？就盡快將呢個數字回落翻3或者4位數字，而推行全民檢測咧？唔該。
我哋完全係按住國家主席習近平對於香港嘅要求。喺過去呢一段時間，其實由第5波開始咧，我哋都係全心全意嚟到去抗疫。我哋係將穩控疫情咧係放喺重中之重，亦都係壓倒一切嘅任務。當然我哋亦都係要將確保香港市民嘅生命安全、身體健康咧係放喺首位。每一件嘅工作，包括我每一天除咗星期2之外咧，喺呢度同大家公布嘅措施、交代嘅措施咧，都係按住以抗疫、以拯救生命咧為我哋嘅目標嘅嚇。咁所以我認為特區政府嘅團隊喺呢一度咧係履行緊我哋嘅主體責任去做呢件事嚇。第二咧就係有關於喺咩時機做全民強制檢測，係本地嘅專家同埋內地嘅專家咧，都係發表咗一定嘅意見嚇。咁我亦都會詳細認真考慮呢啲意見，喺不久嘅將來咧，就同大家公佈究竟喺2月22日提出過呢個用全民強制檢測作為一種手段去壓制嘅疫情，究竟應該係點樣進行，喺幾時進行？但係今日咧就恐怕未到呢個階段可以同大家交代。我係非常之尊重記者發問嘅自由，不過我相信而家喺電視機前邊嘅唔少嘅僱主同埋僱員，今日提出嘅2大就業支援嘅措施咧，都係好關心嘅。咁所以如果有記者朋友可以都聚焦問一問呢啲咁重要，可以令到香港嘅僱員稍為放心，可以令到香港嘅僱主稍為有信心嘅問題。
好，我哋而家第3位記者嘅問題。中間嗰位女記者，中間嗰排係啦。
Hi, I'm from HKIBC, so I would like to ask about the 2 schemes that you have announced just now. So do they only cover for permanent residents, or if people who came here with a visa, are they covered as well? And the second question I would like to ask is, what's your expectation under these 2 schemes? Will the unemployment rate continue to rise, like what you have just said, like the tsunami will continue to go on? Thank you.
This scheme is intended to support employees through providing wage subsidies to their employers. So we will not draw a distinction between the resident status, ethnicity, or background of the individuals. As I've mentioned, the distinction will be drawn on the basis of the industry. So for certain business sectors which are not adversely affected by the COVID-19 epidemic, they will not be eligible. In fact, this is a very strong message given to us when we conducted the 2020 support scheme. As far as the second question, I'll invite the Secretary for Labor and Welfare to explain to you the impact of the 2020 ESS on the overall employment or unemployment situation in Hong Kong.
Well, to look at what would be the possible impact of the current proposal, the best thing is to look back at in the 2020 ESS application. Just to recap, in the 2020 ESS program, it sort of covered the period of June to November 2020. You probably remember the third wave is peak around July and August in 2020. Very likely because of the ESS program, the unemployment was rather stable at that time, at around 6.1 to 6.3%, even though the peak of the third wave hit Hong Kong. After the end of the third wave, the fourth wave came around mid-November 2020. The ESS stopped in November 2020. Then the unemployment rate started to increase in December 2020 and reached its peak by the time February 2021, that is 7.2%. The whole purpose of the ESS back at that time is to try to keep the business afloat so that when the epidemic subsides, the industry can revise very quickly. And if you look at the figures, it clearly illustrates how quickly the economy picks up in 2021. As Chief Executive just mentioned, in the announced figure in February 2021, the unemployment rate was 7.2%. In 10 months' time, it drops to 3.9%. The best comparison is back in 2003, during the period of SARS. In June 2003, the unemployment rate was 8.5%. To reduce by 3.3%, the same magnitude that we have in 2021, it took 2.5 years before the unemployment rate dropped down to 5.9%. What it really tells us is that the rebound in 2021 is very quick. And if you look at the impact of ESS during the third wave, and then how much the business can uphold themselves, and how they can recover very quickly after this fourth wave, it illustrates the importance of a ESS program. But just to highlight the current proposed ESS is slightly different because of the timing. If you remember, in 2020, when we start announcing the ESS, it was right after the second wave, before the third wave. We didn't know when the third wave would come. So the whole idea is to keep the business afloat. But now it's like different. Now, if everything's, we can say touch wood, if the peak of the fifth wave has already passed more than a week ago, and now is the time to think about how we can keep the business coming, to help them to coming back very quickly as possible. So the design, as spelled out by the Chief Executive right now, is to encourage them to increase their employment, because the amount of subsidy will depend on how many employees they will employ. And so that will help the business to rebound far more quickly. That's what I say.